Hi, everyone, and welcome to Open Your Eyes to the Universe. I'm Gabrielle Martin, and it's a pleasure to have you with us again for another episode. If you're joining for the first time, a very warm welcome, and if you're a regular viewer, then welcome back. It's great to have you with us, and thanks for coming along. Now, the Youniverse team would like to acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as the traditional custodians of the land upon which we meet. And so we pay our respects to the elders of the past, the present and the future, and we acknowledge their spiritual connection to country. We also acknowledge and respect the wise elder within us all and the collective wisdom of all those here this evening. For those of you who don't know, Open Your Eyes to the Universe is a series of contemporary talks, conversations, open-eyed meditations and interviews with people who inspire and uplift others by sharing their wisdoms, their experiences, and their insights with us. Now, last month on Youniverse, we were in conversation with writer, actor, and artist Barbara Bossett-Ramsey. We were listening to her reading of Turnings, the Story of Time, and we journeyed together through time, reawakening memories we didn't even know we had. Our journey was enhanced by a soundscape created by some of the best musicians in Australia, with David Jones in the composer's seat. You can check out the chat box for details of this episode and the work of both Barbara and David if you missed it. But look, here we are tonight, and we're in the divine company of Carmen Warrington, and we'll be talking about being calm and creative. So for those of you who don't know, and I'm sure most of you do know Carmen, she is a creative artist working across several art forms. Her intention in all her work, and you will have noticed this, is to uplift and inspire. Her speciality is the calming effect of sound. She's written and recorded dozens of guided meditations and CDs, and her large and loyal international fans often call her the voice of peace when they're referring to her meditation recordings. Her very calming voice and her artistic delivery style, her poetic lyrics and her soothing music all contribute to the effectiveness and the popularity of her work. Many YouTubers, and probably yourself, have created videos from Carmen's audio recordings, collecting well over 1 million views. In 2010, she was commissioned by ABC Music to record a series of 8 meditation CDs titled the Meditations for Life series. And along with writing the lyrics and music, she was also the recording engineer for this 2-year project. Carmen is also the best-selling author of 2 inspirational books, Today I Will and Today I Am. Many of our viewers this evening will also know Carmen as one of the meditation teachers on the highly popular Insight Timer app. And you'll be pleased to know that Carmen will probably very soon, not sure how soon, but she'll tell us, she'll be presenting live sound baths on Insight Timer. And when I was sort of like delving into what Carmen's been up to, I have to say there's a lot to share with you about Carmen, but we're not going to do it all at once. Her talent as an actress, a musician, a songwriter and a singer, a meditation artist, an author, her story and her significant contribution to our world through her creative expression will unfold during our conversation tonight. And viewers, as always, we really welcome your participation and questions. Thanks to those who've sent them in already. And if you'd like to ask a question or make a comment, anything you like as we move along, please use the chat box and we'll endeavour to address your comments and your questions at some point in our conversation tonight. So Carmen, it's a great pleasure to have you with us tonight. Thanks for joining us on Open Your Eyes to the Universe.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
And it's a great pleasure for us to have you here. So I'm going to sort of kick in here with a bit of a comment that without a doubt, you're very well known as the beautiful voice on guided meditation CDs. And I've listened to a lot of them. I know that when I'm facilitating retreats and play your meditation commentaries, people are really deeply soothed by the tone and also the vibration of your voice. So to kick off our conversation, I'm going to ask you, has to be the first question, where did you get your voice?
That's a great question. Well, it's a long process and there are there are many aspects to one's voice. Um, I guess physically, my mum had a beautiful voice, and she used to tell me that at school she was called the girl with the golden voice.
Oh,
And I really loved
gorgeous.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also loved the fact that even at the age of 90, she still sounded like she had the voice of an adult. It didn't sound like it had deteriorated into, some people, their voices change over the time as they age, but I never perceived that in her voice. So I'm very grateful, and I hope that I have a long lifespan for this voice to continue being able to reach into people's hearts.
Yeah.
But also, I guess, because I trained as an actor for 3 years, and we had voice classes every single day for that time. So I'm very grateful to my teachers, Betty Williams and Doreen Hogan,
Mm.
and a number of other teachers who taught me how to use this instrument. So, yeah.
We're very grateful to those teachers as well, Carmen, because so many of us are very much appreciated. Um, yeah, listening to you is just a beautiful experience. So the words that you speak, but also, of course, the voice. And I had a suspicion it might be related to your mum. I almost wondered when I listened to you, it sounds so natural that, I wondered if you ever came out of the womb gurgling in complete rhythm and perfect soothing vocal pitch. But but anyway, and I do remember being backstage with you. It must have been in Sydney, and we were prepping to deliver a live meditation commentary to a really packed out auditorium in Sydney. And I have to say, it was the most amazing vocal gymnastics I've ever heard as you were, prepping for this live meditation. And I also noted that you, oh, I don't know if you always are, but you were on this occasion, and I've seen it. And you're barefoot when you do your stage work. Is that always, or is that what's that about?
Yeah. I have tended to go barefoot. I'm a bit of an anti-shoe person anyway. I like to be barefoot, but
Yeah.
I just find it a very grounding thing. And when I'm doing live meditation commentaries, um, they're always improvised. And so I like to feel that I'm really connected.
Mm.
And part of that is, yeah, the barefoot thing.
Mm. Mm.
Mm,
I had that feeling that that connection, being so grounded, would
mm,
be part of that equation. Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, but look, your meditation commentaries. Let's have a chat about that. You've written and recorded dozens of guided meditations and CDs, and
Mm,
your recordings are gifted to the Brahma Kumaris as part of your service work and for the communities. Um, that's actually a huge gift. And when I was sort of looking to see which CDs you've been doing, quite a large number. Today I Will, Moving On One and Moving On Two, that was all about guided meditations to help you heal. And so many of them obviously are healing anyway. But your Peace of Mind CD, meditations to achieve peace of mind. I'm thinking now about World of Relationships, that was guided meditations to heal relationships. And one of my favorites, Healing Heart and Soul. Gorgeous meditations and their guided commentaries to help people heal. And on a very, very deep level, I think that when really reaches a lot of people.
mm,
Gorgeous positioning of the divine on that CD as well. The Sanctuary, a little bit more recent, but their meditations to take people into a place of stillness. Again, where healing starts. Um, so many Lights of the World, another guided set of meditations to heal relationships. Are you remembering these as I'm
yeah,
stealing off?
there's a
Yeah,
lot there, isn't
there's a
there?
lot. There's so many. God, I remember when that one came out, guided meditations to explore your relationship or your experience with the divine.
Mm,
Um, so many. And you've studied and taught meditation with the Brahma Kumaris, I think, since 1984.
yeah.
So what actually inspired you to write and record meditation commentaries? Because it really wasn't around in the 80s.
Yeah, look, there were a number of things. And I guess it's significant, first of all, to explain, like, before I discovered meditation, um, I was completely shut off from my creativity. Not completely. I mean, I'd been to NIDA, so I was trained as an actor. But that was a very difficult 3 years for me. But I regarded it as a bit of a spiritual awakening, because all the teachers, they would ask us to journal all the time and say, okay, you've done this class today, go away and write up what you discovered about yourself. And I'd never really looked within. I wasn't a very articulate child, wasn't a very articulate teenager for various reasons. And so when I came to meditation, it was a massive awakening for me on every level. And luckily, where I was studying meditation in those days, it was at the Bondi Junction Raj Yoga Centre, and the place was just packed with creative artists. Somehow we were all attracted at the same time to come along, and the people living in the centre were all very artistic. And we used to run a lot of creative weekend workshops. And I remember, I don't know why someone asked me to do this, but they just said, can you speak a meditation for us while we're doing this? I think there was some movement exercise going on. I can't remember. And I had started understanding how to say yes to everything. And so I just said yes without knowing what on earth I was going to do. But it woke something up in me that said, this is your gift to the world. I didn't think about it like that for a long time, but looking back on it now, it was a pivotal moment where I just thought, this is who I am, this is what I do. And I got such a lot of great feedback from doing that very first spoken meditation that somehow I just kept going, because I guess I was intrigued anyway to see what it was that was awakening in me. And yeah, I just ran with it it became a passion to just fulfill something in me, and also fulfill my kind of drive that I'd had for a long time without understanding, which was to uplift through the arts. I remember getting to NIDA, which was, NIDA is an acting school where they kind of make the stars of the entertainment industry in Australia. And I remember the acting teacher running a session with us all and saying, okay, you've made it here now. Why did you come? What did you want to achieve from this? And I remember saying, I want to uplift through the arts. And he gave me a very funny look. Really? You sure you've come to the right place? And it just was a very strong drive in me that somehow they had to come together. That it's not just art for the sake of acting and entertainment, which is a wonderful thing. We love to be entertained. And through these lockdowns, what have people relied on most? Not entertainment. So it's a very important thing. But for me, there was this little extra thing where it had to be, let's somehow, and yeah, just this word uplift keeps coming to me. And so I've forgotten why I'm talking about all this, but somehow that just was a very fulfilling part of using writing to create a meditation, to use my voice and my understanding of how to imbue meaning into the words, and how to be in the experience myself before I speak it, so that that energy is conveyed through words, which are really just sounds that we've all agreed have the same meaning. It's just sound that the brain somehow interprets into meaning. So, it's such an interesting thing. So, yeah, I wanted to uplift, and I found that path for me was opening through doing these meditations. So I was very lucky, and just opportunities kept coming. And particularly, I used to love the feeling of almost the danger of doing a live commentary and absolutely having no idea what was going to come out of my mouth. It's very exciting.
Yeah, that's actually quite a special moment, really, isn't it? When you're in that live situation and you really don't know what's going to come out of your mouth. Yet I have noted you always tap into some really deep inner resources in those moments, Carmen, and bring out these absolute gems. And I'm thinking of when, so really going right back here into the 80s when cassettes were around. And I think you might have been the person that recorded one of the first cassettes and made it so accessible. And you did that with meditation in the way that you mapped that process. And I could just about remember the beginning moments of it. It was something like, when I meditate, I'm doing something that I do throughout the day, thinking. And it was like, oh, so that's what meditation is. I'm thinking, and then you went on and you talked about, but when I meditate, I choose what thoughts I want to have, and so then you started to map out that process. And I think that really decoded or helped bring a lot of understanding around what we're doing when we meditate. And if I think about where we are today, there's so many forms of meditation available in the spiritual and the new age marketplace, and even in the corporate world now. So where are you now? How do you meditate? What happens for you now?
Yeah, it's such an interesting question because it changes all the time.
Mm,
And I think, for years, even when I was teaching meditation, I used to think, I don't really know how to meditate.
mm,
I haven't had those thoughts for a while, but it's an interesting part of the journey where you're really trying to understand what is meditation. And I remember there was four words, and I can't quite remember the order, but it was relaxation, concentration, relaxation, contemplation,
mm,
concentration, meditation. And I
mm,
think how we meditate is a playing around with all those four concepts. But more recently, I've studied a little bit into mindfulness and what that's all about. So I try and bring some of that mindfulness approach into what I'm doing at the moment. But for me personally, my meditation tends to be about getting into a state of letting go of Carmen, the personality,
mm,
which is akin to, this notion of dying alive and trying to access that part of me which is so much bigger than this tiny little, like if I'm, the unlimited energy of the soul, and somehow it's funneled down into this little being called a human being.
mm,
And that is the limited self that, is beautiful, and we have that self to live and experience life with. But to really get beyond that, that's the starting point of my meditation. To let
mm,
go Carmen, to let go my gender, to let go my age, to let go my personality. That's the tricky one because,
mm,
we love our
mm,
personalities. We've lived with them for our whole lives and we're very
mm,
fond of them and
mm,
very, very easy to identify with them. But, you know, I'm Carmen, but I'm not Carmen, you know.
mm,
And so that's where I try and take myself in my meditation, and by then something else may unfold, which I'll follow or not, or I might have a specific plan of something I want to do with my meditation. But that's always the starting point.
mm. Well, look, should we push pause and play one of the meditations off Today I Will? And if you're happy to do that, we're going to do a recorded track. It's called Keep a Calm Perspective.
Wonderful.
Do you want to introduce it, Carmen, or we'll just go for it?
Um, well, actually, this is interesting because it was inspired by an exercise we did in acting class to just imagine yourself rising, 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 rising away from your body. So I turned it into this meditation.
Wow, let's go to it.
Today I will keep a calm perspective. Imagine your body is like a cloud, insubstantial, misty, ethereal, as light as air. It's as if you're no longer solid flesh and bone. You're made of mist. You're so light that you could float. Imagine being released from gravity's hold, feeling lighter than a feather or a butterfly. Feeling so light that nothing could keep you earthbound. Imagine up above you, a secret passageway in the ceiling, leading directly to the open sky. You're feeling lighter than air. Let yourself go and begin a gentle journey upwards. Enjoy the sensation of rising and leave today behind you as you float up and up and out into the open air. Keep floating higher. Rise above all the buildings, above the treetops, and continue to float higher. Rising upwards, leaving everything behind you for a little while, light and free. Far down below you, tiny cars are slowly making their way along little roads. Houses and buildings, so small beneath you. Your concerns and worries seem to be far away in the distance as you continue to travel upwards. Just above you, there are thick clouds. A wind blows, clearing the way for you to travel through. Pass through layers of white haze and come out above the clouds into a perfect blue sky. Into the realm of continuous sunshine. Bring yourself to stillness. Remain here, floating in an expanse of sunny blue sky. So much space around you. Below you is a carpet of white cloud, like snow. Above you, all around you, is the limitless sky. You've left your worries and concerns behind you. You've risen above the clouds to a place where the sun is always shining. Feeling calm and peaceful. No restrictions, no boundaries, no shadows, just light and space. Stillness all around you. Restoring stillness to your mind. You've reconnected with your inner peace. And now you're ready to continue your day with a calm perspective. Prepare for your gentle return journey. Approach the carpet of white cloud below you and let yourself slip down through the hazy white layers, down towards the earth below you. Waft slowly down like a falling feather, dreamily down, enjoying the journey. Drifting back down towards trees and rooftops. Pass through the secret passageway in the ceiling and slowly drift back down to where you started and reunite with your body of flesh and bone. Feel your limbs, feel your fingers, your tongue, your closed eyelids. Remember that you can leave your worries and go above the clouds where the sun is always shining. And when you are ready, very slowly, open your eyes.
Carmen, it was gorgeous. Really feel the movement in it. I'm wanting to, I guess, just move on to another meditation commentary that you made. It was a CD entitled God, simply God. And for some people, that could be quite an off-putting word. And yet for other people, God is the clear space within, or God is love, or the source, or whatever. And you wrote and spoke 5 very uplifting meditations on God. And I've appreciated them immensely because I love the way you decode the divine and make this one accessible to anyone searching for an experience of that one, whomever or whatever they perceive that one to be. It's very deep, and it's quite different from Today I Will, which focuses more on visualizations and moving into an experience of peace. But in this kind of CD, you're really looking at a connection with a higher being. And I wondered if you wanted to make some comment about that in terms of your relationship with the divine and how you weave that into your meditation CDs.
Yeah. Just before I embark on that, I just wanted to, excuse me, acknowledge the beautiful musicians that I've had the privilege to work with. Because to me, the music is such a big part of, particularly of Today I Will. I've done a lot of my own music as the years progress, and I don't have a particular musical training, just an ear that knows what I like. But when I have the opportunity to work with people like Every Pidu, and of course David, my partner, who's always my go-to person for inspiration and checking what the music is doing. But Every was such a beautiful musician to work with because he's also a meditator of many, many years. So he really understood what was needed to support the journey of each of those meditations in Today I Will. And then coming to the God CD, I had the very good fortune to work with Michael Westlake, who very kindly created the music for the God CD, which took me 2 years to write because I really wanted to offer things that were helpful without anyone shying away and thinking, no, that's not God. And I wanted to make sure that I never attached gender to God, to the divine. Because, when I think about the divine, I'll start using that word now, the divine. I think of energy, and certainly not of a human being. I have a very lovely friend, Tamsin, who beautifully reminds me that, God is not of the human species. Like, wow, what a concept that is. Would you excuse me just a minute? I think, oh no, it's all right. I thought someone was trying to come in. And so, yeah, it took me a long time to think through what I could and offer to people that would transcend religious beliefs and recognizable as that beautiful being that is at the heart of our existence. Especially when you think again of this notion of this soul energy that's funneled down into this human being, that where we come from and where we belong is in this soul plane of existence, or soul realm, or world, or however you think about it, and that there is a beautiful being that is free of judgment and criticism and just love, the essence of love. And what can we draw on from that being, and what do I draw on from that being? So I tried to bring all those feelings and opportunities to interact with this divine energy into that collection of meditations. And for me personally, that's an integral part of my life, is a connection with the divine. but I also have a feeling of another realm of what I call my upstairs team, which are more, you might, people might say guides or angels or that realm
Mm,
of kind of embodied beings without being on this earthly plane, but that have an interaction with me.
mm,
And that I'm also interacting because I'm in that I mean, I'm getting a bit cosmic here, but you
mm,
know, if one accepts a notion of never-ending energy of the soul, then when Carmen's role is finished,
mm,
I will move into some other role. But in between, there's this other realm of timelessness. And before I was born into Carmen, I might have been a grandfather, and my grandchildren might still be alive, and my great grandchildren still
mm,
alive on this planet now, remembering me as their grandfather and great grandfather. And so I feel like I'm in the upstairs team for some other group of people that
mm,
I no longer
mm,
interact with. So it's a
mm,
beautiful feeling
mm,
of connectedness and
mm,
extraordinary love and oneness and, looking out for each other in all different ways.
mm,
And then beyond that is this beautiful divine energy that
mm.
is very, very loving and fills in all the gaps that I'm looking to fill in.
Mm. I love that understanding of subtle connectivity. That
Mm,
it totally transcends um, space, time, all those sorts of factors, and the
yeah,
connectivity subtly. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Mm.
yeah. And we have such limited understanding in these
Yeah.
things,
Mm.
try and
Mm.
figure it out logically. But, to be out of this physical body is to be out of time. I mean,
Mm.
wow.
Mm. Mm.
That in itself is extraordinary. We're so time bound here, and it's only going in one direction
Yeah.
while
Yeah.
we're in this
Yeah.
body. But,
Yeah.
there's no time outside of this dimensional reality. It
And
gives me goosebumps.
that comes through in your meditations, like that feeling absolutely comes through in the meditation commentaries that you deliver and speak. And picking up too the total majesty and beauty of the sound behind that, working with David and others. Absolutely, they go together, don't they? The spoken word and the music.
Yeah, yeah,
Vibrationally and on other levels as well. They're
yes,
intertwined. Mm.
yeah, yeah. And our Western concept of music is very lyrical and very rhythmical as well, although
Mm.
the rhythm of, if you looked at the map of some of these meditations, it might be like 20 beats per minute, or less, whereas a
Mm.
pop song might be 120 beats a minute. So
Right.
there's definitely a tempo going on, but it's so subtle that it almost is timeless, just the music. But,
Mm.
it's still obeying the rules of music.
Mm. Mm. I never thought of it in that way, but I get what you're saying. Look,
Mm.
where do you think does the divine play a part in your creativity or your creative expression? I mean, I sense it does, but it's a very open question. This one is it. What's that relationship there between your connection with the divine and the way you express yourself creatively?
Yeah. It's almost hard to explain because to get into my creative space, I have to pull the plug on the world for a while. Like if I'm going to work on a big project, I take 3 days to disconnect from worldly responsibility. So make sure all the bills are
Mm.
paid, that I haven't got any outstanding phone calls or matters to attend to, and just let myself go more and more within my eternal resources,
Mm.
And in the old days, I used to end up in my bed with a box of coloured crayons in front of me and endless sheets of blank paper. And then I might spend half a day just doodling and just opening up, unlocking, looking, what is it that wants to come out? But at the same time, knowing that I have to, connect this way up into the divine realm. And I love this notion of being an instrument, that I'm going to bring something into being that is from above, but that has called on me and my mind and my heart and my life experiences and my talents and skills and whatever, that can only take birth through this instrument. And so it's really, to me, it's all about what the divine wants to bring in through me. And I'm even looking up at, yeah. So it's all about that for me.
And don't you deliver that touching beautifully? So why don't we listen to one of the tracks off the God CD? I'm not sure if you'll recall this one, or perhaps you will. It's The Garden. I looked at the 5 of them and I thought this was a lovely entry point into the God CD, The Garden. But there's also an equally lovely one at the end called Be With Me, where you speak in a whisper. And so viewers, if you want to check out that, you can look at the CD in your own time. But shall we share one on The Garden at the moment?
Lovely.
Let's go.
Imagine yourself in a beautiful sun-drenched garden. A soft breeze caresses your cheek. The energy of nature surrounds you and enters every cell of your body, regenerating you. And you notice a soft intake and exhaling of your breath, in tune with nature. Breathing in the sweet oxygen, letting out that which is no longer needed by your body. Continual refreshment and nourishment of your body. The soft breath of life. This garden is the most pure and loving part of your soul. The real you. The special, secret garden that life cannot harm. In this garden you generate your highest, most beautiful self again and again. From this safe and beautiful place, you look out through an archway into your life. And from your safe and sweet place, you look at your life with wisdom, observing the loved ones who have come to you and gone. remembering the gifts they have given to you and the gifts you have given to them. Some of those gifts have been disguised, for they are the gifts of knowledge, and they may have come in hurtful forms to show you who you are and what next you can learn. Whether sweet or sorrowful, all these interchanges have been gifts for you. You are observing your life. Tenderly, you accept all that you are, all that you have done, all that has happened to you as part of a beautiful journey of transition and learning. And from your garden, looking out through the archway at your life, you can see that all is good, because it has all brought you to this garden. It's all brought you to peace. Peace with yourself. All is good. And with self-respect, you can say, no matter what, I have loved to the best of my ability. I have loved to the best of my ability. Sometimes fear and pain have wrapped themselves around my heart. And sometimes I've managed to unwrap those dark forces and free my heart. All is well within my heart. All is well in my garden. For it is here that the real me can meet with the real God. The real God. The being for whom the most important quality in life is love. The one who never stops loving. The one who has never abandoned me, although sometimes it felt like that. Why would you leave me when you are love? You know my story. You've been near me all the way. You're my secret companion. You give me the gift of your peace. I know you, and you know me. You know the essence of my heart is to give love. to serve where I can through love. You know that's not always been easy for me. I feel no judgment from you. No sense of you feeling that I should have done this or felt that. That's not part of you. That's why I love to come and be with you, subtly communicating with you through the language of feeling. I enjoy some peaceful time with you. I continue to call upon you in my moments of challenge, sadness, or despair. I call upon you to help me go beyond these feelings, back into the beauty of my garden, my real self. I breathe in a deep breath and smell the fragrant flowers of the garden as I let the breath slowly out. Breathing in again and out. I feel the soft breeze caressing my cheek. We all have a garden, which is our real self. Sometimes all I can see of others is weeds and thorns or polluted wastelands. We all have a garden, which is our real self. I remind myself of the garden where I can be with God. I am refreshed and ready to make my life as beautiful as the garden I have visited.
beautiful, Carmen. It was a lovely meditation. Thank you for writing it. Thank you for speaking it. And thank you to the musicians who provided a gorgeous soundscape behind it. I wanted to talk with you about the books you've written. You are the author of 2 best-selling books, Today I Will, which you can't see through a virtual background, but Today I Will, and also Today I Am. And they're 2 gorgeous books that you'd really want to have in your life kit. They're simply presented in grey print and on plain newspaper or something like that, but very simple, very elegant, and filled with wisdom. And it seems to me that, that it really reflects your life in many ways. It sounds like the experienced voice coming through. There isn't anything in here that I wouldn't say that, that Carmen Warrington hasn't experienced. She's written what she has experienced. And if I think about the book Today I Am, you really go through a really full emotional landscape. And I was stunned actually by your ability to describe so clearly and poetically some of those really tough and raw human emotions. And I also love the way that you kind of turn them around. You provide a means to be with it, to examine it, to feel it, but then to move through it. And I'm thinking of the one called Today I Am a Block of Ice. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
So something was happening there. It's stunning. Are you going to read it? Would you like to read it?
I'd love to. I don't remember what was happening in my life at the time, but
But isn't it a great title? Today I Am a Block of Ice. I can't imagine there'd be anyone who wouldn't relate to that.
Here it is. Yes, I am a block of ice. I'm brittle, static, and unyielding. Something triggered a painful reaction in me, and the only way I could cope was to shut down. My ability to love has frozen over. Bitter cold winds blow across my words, and people slip and slide on my frosty intentions. I'm icy cold and uninviting. Fortunately, this state is not permanent, and a simple remedy exists. I apply warmth. I will melt, and love will flow again. If I start to warm from inside me, my heart will thaw more quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's big, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know, I just really love that way that, and throughout this book you've done it actually. You take up the tough emotions, you put spiritual context to it, you put resolution to it, and you don't deny it. It makes it so authentic, very
Yeah,
authentic.
it's really important not to deny. You can go on a spiritual journey, and I remember when I first started meditating, and people thought that, you're just like a Pollyanna because everything is so happy and positive, and we go through a honeymoon phase when we discover all these amazing things that change our lives. But the nitty-gritty work is then dealing with all the stuff that comes up, and it's the stuff that we don't want. And that's why I try and encourage people not to put shoulds and ought tos, and not to shame or guilt, or I keep trying to bring those themes into it, because whoever you are, whatever you're going through, that is your story and that's your unfolding. And it's important to acknowledge that it's not all Pollyanna, happy ever after, bed of roses. Once you start entering a spiritual pathway, you're going to come across all this stuff, but it's all on the pathway towards your destination. It's all important, and not to feel embarrassed or ashamed or guilty or any of those feelings. It's just normal. So I try and embrace that a lot, that it's all part of the story.
In fact, I think meditation is a process that opens up. So it's all going to be there, isn't it, for us to do exactly what we choose to do with it. And look, there's another one there that you've gone into another realm, and that's today I am a star. Do you want to have a go reading that one?
Let me find it first.
I'm flicking through the book as well.
Yes.
So many gorgeous ones.
Okay. Yes. I am a star. I've been put up here to be, not to do, to be. Up here, I am way beyond the cares and troubles of the world. I'm free just to be, free to radiate light, for my essence is light and peace. Anyone who looks up at the night sky can feel my peace. I'm blissfully detached up here, removed from everything and everyone. But when I want to, I can shoot down to earth, straight back to activity. I love the simplicity up here, the peace. Occasionally, it's good for the soul just to be.
Is that part of your subtle team, is it, coming through there?
Yes, absolutely.
We're going to play one that Carmen's put music to. It's called I Am the Sea, and it's a gorgeous one as well. So let's have a go at that one. It's called I Am the Sea. And Carmen, would you like to introduce or say something about the graphic that we have with that one?
Well, I have chosen to bring an image that was painted by my mum. And she had a photo. She's been painting, or she was a painter, for a long time. And I love the way she captured the feeling of the ocean and the colours. Her colour work is extraordinary.
Let's go there.
When the weather is calm, my waves roll gently. When stormy winds blow, I am wild and out of control. On the surface, I'm influenced by my surroundings. But I am also deep, and way down beneath my surface is another world. Down in my depths, I have a mysterious and secret world of stillness, silence, beauty, hidden color, and great power. instead of dwelling on the surface where I interact with the world outside, I spend time visiting the deepest part of me. So that I can become resilient to the winds of change. I am the sea, and I retreat into the still, silent, deep waters of my soul.
Excuse me. I think the Zoom may not have captured the soft sounds in that recording, and it may not have reproduced all the subtlety in that painting. But I hope you got the gist of it. It is very gorgeous, and you can catch I Am the Sea on Insight Timer, I think, can't you, Carmen? It's there. Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
But it's also on, I've got a website on Bandcamp, so they can find it there if they want to.
Great. We'll put that in the chat as well. Carmen, there's one reading that I'd love it if you could read. It's called Today I Am an Ecosystem. You got that one there, page 138.
Oh,
137.
I'm using on a book.
Oh, you're using a book. Okay.
I mean, the document. So, I did want to just let you into a little secret, though, before we go on, about
do.
the sound of the ocean in that recording.
Yes.
Is made by a drum kit.
My goodness. Wow.
David.
Who did that? Was that David, was it?
Yeah, he loves
David.
He loves playing soundscapes, and he has an ocean that he makes. Isn't it fantastic?
Isn't it? Yeah, it's absolute, a big delight. Thank you, David.
Now, I can't find... Have you got it there, Gabriel? You might read it.
Shall I read it? Okay. Here we go. Not as beautifully, but let me try. My natural instinct is to survive. My ability to adapt enables me to do so. I respond and adjust to the many changes that occur in me, both internally and externally. Above my instinct for survival, I have the will to thrive and flourish. For this, I need to maintain the good health of my entire system, all of my parts. The subsystems that make up my whole depend upon the proper functioning of my other parts. It's a delicate balance, and each system must be given attention and energy in order for the whole to flourish. If even one system is not healthy, it will undermine the well-being of the whole. And Carmen, why I pointed that one out was because I'm reminded that when I was reading that in 2019, you faced what most people deeply fear. You were diagnosed with cancer, and after 3 successful surgeries, it's now in remission. And I remember reading on Facebook, with huge compassion, you wrote on Facebook, on your Facebook page, an open letter urging people to take practical steps to prevent cancer. Thank you for that. It certainly motivated people that I have as friends who read that letter as well. But when I read the ecosystem, I wondered what inner resources you were drawing from within yourself that you managed so successfully to overcome a very life-altering, it was a very life-altering experience. And what were the inner resources that you drew on? I mean, I suspect just about everything you wrote in Today I Am would have been there for you during those moments. So a big question, and happy to just take it wherever you wish.
Yeah. Just before we do that, it's come to my mind that I really wanted to acknowledge my editor for the 2 books that I wrote, Magnolia Flora, who was Magnolia G at the time. Because it's one thing to write what you think is a book and then present a first draft or a second draft to a publishing house, and then you get told, great, now let's start the editing process. You think, what? I thought this was it. And, it was such a delight and an eye-opening experience to work with Magnolia. So thank you, darling Magnolia. So yes, let's talk about cancer.
Yeah.
I thought I was a healthy person. I eat organic food, vegetarian, vegan for some years. Don't drink alcohol, don't take any drugs, don't take any medications. Just live a good life, drink pure water. Didn't probably exercise enough. And so when this diagnosis of cancer came, it was incomprehensible. It's like, what? How did that happen? Because I thought it was just connected to what I do with my life. But I've come to believe that it's also to do with things that I have not fully addressed in my inner world. And, I have some very supportive friends who helped me through, on a physical level, coming with me to the hospital to every appointment, and just being there for me, which was, a profoundly wonderful gift to have. And I wanted to think immediately, what has caused this cancer? But I had to let go of that thought, because it can be quite a brutal thing to ask yourself that and not be able to answer it straight away and think somehow I've done something wrong, or what has caused it. So in the end, I just followed through the process of going to the hospital and going to the surgeons, and having to appreciate the Western medical model in a way that I'd never really given it appreciation for, because I'd lived outside that model and visited homeopaths and naturopaths and massage and chiropractic and what's called the alternative healing system, which to me was the proper healing system. And that Western medicine was a little bit not quite sure what to make of it, but I've understood how important it is in our world to have these beautiful people who understand the mechanics of our body in that way and can go in and extricate some things and leave some things there and patch things up, and incredible. And I had to, well, not had to, I found myself drawing on a phrase over and over again as each new bit of the picture was coming into our awareness, that it is what it is. And that was the biggest salvation for me, just to go, well, it is what it is, and it will unfold the way it's going to unfold, and I'll just go along with whatever I have to do and whatever has to be done to my body, and however I have to heal. And along the way, then for me, I felt that the underlying issues were to do with what I guess you could sum up as survival and safety. Being an artist, choosing an artistic lifestyle in order to give oneself the time to create all these creations that it's been my delight to create, it's not been possible to have a full-time job. And so without a full-time job, there's no full-time income. And so underlying the creative process is this deep, deep panic that I will not have enough money and that I will not have a home to live in. Deep, deep messages underlying that only really came to the surface. They were there on some level all the time, but the extent to which they were driving my being was staggering, and I feel that they were the key issues for me that resulted in creating cancer. I feel very lucky that I was able to address the various tumours surgically without any other therapies having to be entered into. But I also gave myself, and thanks to my family and to David, who looked after me and looked after the finances of our little family, that I was able to take time off. And I actually had to take the time off. I couldn't really function in the world anymore. And it's taken me until just a couple of months ago, because through all that, of course, COVID was happening. David was losing work. My mum got sick. My niece passed away. The landlord sold our house because his business collapsed. So there were all these things going on, and it was just a journey of it is what it is. Just keep moving through all this, and those things deeply tied up. Mother, home, sense of safety. Those issues were all just playing out all at the same time, and so you just go, okay, it is what it is. And also, I'd spent 15 years being, excuse me, a funeral celebrant. And in order to prepare for that, while I was studying funeral celebrancy, I went deeply into the topic of death and understanding my own death. And it was such a great experience all those years ago to be comfortable with the notion of dying. And so that was never an issue with the cancer for me. Whether I survived or not, I was comfortable with the notion of dying. And like I said earlier, this notion of dying alive is an intricate part of meditation, that we can let go of everything so much in meditation and then immerse ourselves back into it again in the real world, but with this underlying peace that comes from understanding the transient nature of existence and the ever-changing world that we pass through in a lifetime. So yeah, I'm still just
Mm.
getting, as I mentioned to you when you invited me very kindly to come and be part of the universe, that I'm only
Mm.
just coming back into being able
Mm.
to function and
Mm.
create and interact with the world. So
Mm.
yeah, it's been a long and interesting journey. And yes, take care of every part of your ecosystem.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. The subtle one as well as the physical one, yeah.
yeah, very much so. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Carmen. I think there's a lot in what you've said and a lot to reflect on actually, that the transience of our being and the importance of being a caretaker for ourselves and in the mix, the many challenges that came on your path during those 2 years, 3 years, whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I would love to think that there was some solace for you in terms of the blessings that you um, received subtly from people around the world who have taken so much and been inspired by your work, that subtly those blessings were coming your way during a time when you would have wanted and appreciated the support of that. So
Yes, thank you for
yeah.
bringing that up. That is a big part of it, and I think that's what helped keep me just in this lovely state of acceptance of everything.
Mm,
I do
mm,
feel that those blessings were a big help. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Well, thanks, Carmen, for sharing that one. Um, I'm going to move on to another part of your incredible story, Carmen. And I have to say that putting this together and absolutely delighted that you agreed. It just actually seemed like now's the time for Carmen, and now's the time to re-engage with Carmen for others as well. But when I was putting it together, I was sort of quite staggered at how much you've actually packed into a really short life creatively. So there's depth in what you do, but there's also breadth. And I know you've mentioned your acting career and how that was such a foundation for your creativity. And I'm remembering a story when I first saw you. I guess it was in a very impromptu way. We were traveling on a bus from where we were in Abu and we were going down to Ahmedabad. So this is India. It was the 80s. And it was quite a journey, actually. It was memorable for three different reasons. One was a cow tried to get onto the bus and, and did get onto the bus. And after we decided that actually the cow didn't have a ticket, it'd have to get off the bus, we had to then kind of gently persuade the cow to get off the bus. And then we're only a few moments into our trip when the petrol tank, I think it was the petrol tank, fell off, and some of the Australians got out and tied it with a bit of rope and managed to fix it. And then further on, we were going near a village, and I don't know which one, I can't even remember actually, but two police came onto the bus with these big guns. And I have to say, I preferred the cow. I would have had the cow on the bus any day. But these police, they picked up our little driver literally out of his seat, plucked him out of his seat, and frog marched him out beyond nowhere into the horizon. And some of us were calling out the window saying, "Bring our driver back," and we don't know where we are, and bring our driver back. And amidst all this commotion, some little children had started to gather around the bus, and there was a couple of goats and the odd stray dog, and then lots more children, and then adults started to gather around this bus, and they were chuckling and laughing and yelling out names in Hindi that I didn't understand. And then in the center of that scene was you, Carmen. I don't know if you remember this, but you were there in the middle of that scene. And you were improvising, just using your arms and your face, different animals, elephants, camels, snakes, cows, the things of goats. I think you did a pig. I do remember the elephant though. And the children and the adults were totally almost mesmerized by it, delighted by it, and were laughing and and enjoying the moment and trying to guess what it was that you were acting. I'm not sure if you remember that, but indeed, very talented. If you want to have a go at doing the elephant now, you're very welcome.
I think my inner elephant is asleep right now. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, we'll give that one a skip. But it did, that spontaneity and the versatility, your creative versatility, and the multiple talents. And obviously, it required many mediums for expression, and you also turned your attention to music. And as you've already mentioned, you've collaborated musically with your life partner, David Jones, who is a stunning award-winning drummer percussionist, and we've heard some of his music tonight. And since 1991, you've been presenting your music in Australia as well as India and Japan. And a highlight event in Japan was performing your duo, I Play, You Say. I can kind of guess what that would be about, but I'd love you to tell us.
Well, between us, we're never short of creative ideas. So we love touring together, and David has always been very supportive and encouraging of trying anything and everything, and so we created a show that was drum and voice, and I think we had coined a phrase for describing my work as a vocationist from a time when we were working in a band together, a jazz fusion band called Atmosphere. But I Play, You Say was a duet that we did, which had some drum solo pieces and then all sorts of ways that a voice can interact with a drum through either spoken sounds or poetry, like beat poetry, all sorts of different things. And it was a pretty wild and fun show. And David had a strong connection with Japan, with the orchestra ensemble Kanazawa. And at the time it was conducted by the late maestro Iwaki, after whom the Iwaki Auditorium in Melbourne is named. And he welcomed us, he was actually a drummer in his musician days before he was a conductor. He welcomed us to come and perform this really off-the-wall show in Japan on the concert hall there, which was a wonderful experience for me, because I'd always wanted to be a musician, and to be able to go backstage at a concert hall and see my name on the dressing room door. And then to walk in, and instead of it being a Western decked out room, it was tatami matting and beautiful Japanese screens. And, it couldn't have been a more beautiful experience for me. And I remember at the end of the performance, because we do some kind of rhythmic gymnastic pieces in there that are sort of real showstoppers. And one of the musicians said to David, "Only 2 hands?" And then he said to me, "Only 1 mouth?" I treasure that moment. It was beautiful.
Oh, it's lovely. Well, we're going to take you to Samoa now with this clip. Let's have a look at this one, and you can tell us about it in a moment. And if Leilani's listening, talo falava.
Oh.
Oh, make sure you look after your soul. Here we go. I am a peaceful soul. I am a peaceful soul.
A short clip, Carmen, but a lot in it. Tell us about that one.
Oh gosh, how beautiful. Well, Gabriel, as you know, you were so much a part of the Pacifica piece, and in I forget what year it was, but I was invited to go for a couple of weeks to Samoa, and I leapt at the chance, not least of which for the fact that I am an island girl. In the mid-90s, my dad and mum had lived for a year in the Solomon Islands in Honiara. Dad had retired and he wanted to go and teach still, so he taught mechanical engineering. And for a month, I thought, I haven't seen my mum and dad for a while, I'll go and join them in Honiara because it sounds like a bit of an adventure. And I got in the plane flying across from Brisbane and I started to feel very emotional. And when the plane touched down on the tarmac in Honiara, I burst into tears and said to myself, I've come home. And it was the first place I'd ever felt I was at home. And I hadn't even seen the place yet. I'd only felt the plane touch down on the tarmac, and it was this overwhelming feeling of coming home. And so I love the notion of being an island girl. And so when I got the invite to go to Samoa, of course, yes, please. And Paul Cowan was there already, and he'd done all these amazing networking and creating all these beautiful opportunities to come and share with people about meditation. And he had made this connection with a beautiful school. And I was teaching them to sing one of my songs, I'm a Peaceful Soul. And at the end of the day that we spent with this school, and they were not a very well-off school, and the teacher, I can't remember her name, but she came up to me and she said, there is a competition on at the moment amongst all the schools in the island, and it's about creating a song to educate the population about changing from driving on the left-hand side to driving on the right-hand side of the road. Going, okay, yeah. And she said, would you please write a song for our school to enter into this competition? And of course, what do you say but yes to a question like that? And so I said, yes, of course I will. And she said, and can you come back tomorrow and teach it to the children? I was like, what? Tomorrow? And it had to be soon anyway, because I was only in Ireland for a limited period. So I just, of course, as you do, said, yes, no problem, I'll do that. And so I went away and just summoned deeply what could I bring? And well, they'd already been learning this song, I'm a Peaceful Soul. So why don't I just rewrite the words to that song? So I think some of the words were like, oh, driver on the car and the bus, we are your children. Please look after us. And instead of I'm a peaceful soul, they sang, I am a careful child. And so it was very easy for them to learn the song because they'd already kind of been singing it already. And so I managed to, create verses that made sense and brought it back into the school the next day. And I did hear that they came second in the competition.
Oh, wonderful.
And told me that they would have come first, except the song was in English instead of in language. So I felt pretty good about that we'd created something that made them feel good about their school.
And lovely application too, because I do remember that moment in Samoa when they were changing the sides of the roads that the cars drove on, and what chaos it was creating, just around things like crossing roads and teaching children. So what a lovely application there.
Yeah.
And look, you furthered that too. In 2013, it does seem like you were really discovering your singing voice big time, because you produced a CD called Angel Songs, and
Yeah.
a lovely one. Shall we play track The Bridge? Or did you want to say something about that?
Yeah, I'll talk about it a little first because I
Yeah.
find the bridge is very moving, so I'll chat first.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. Yes, singing, that's a whole other world, because singing is so tied up with one's emotional freedom, I've discovered. And going back again to my actor training, I had a beautiful singing teacher for 3 years called Roma Conway, and she worked really hard with me to get me to sing, and I just couldn't sing. And one day, she was teaching me this soprano song from Sweeney Todd, I think. Greenfinch and linnet bird, nightingale, blackbird, teach me how to sing. And if I cannot fly, let me sing. That's some of the lyrics. And on this particular day, suddenly I had a breakthrough and my true voice came out, soprano voice. And as soon as that happened, I burst into tears because it was like a huge release of all the things that I'd been, without even knowing what they were. I still don't really know what I was holding in, but so much that was locked inside that was emotionally based. But I could never get back to that point of release again for the rest of our 3 years together, working together. To the point that at our 20-year NIDA reunion, I went to the party and people were singing this and that and the other. And I said, oh, I'd like to sing a song. And everyone looked with horror because they could remember, Carmen can't sing. Luckily, the looks of horror turned into smiles of appreciation. And so it's been a long process to be able to sing. And, I love the notion of angels, but it was inspired originally by a lovely friend of mine, Sister Shashi, who lives in Madhuban, and she'd asked a group of friends who mostly live in Australia to write songs based on her lyrics because she's a poet. She's a beautiful poet and songwriter herself. But she gave us the opportunity to work with some of her lyrics and concepts, and that's when I gave birth to the song An Angel Is Here With Me. So that's inspired by Shashi. And then somehow I must have suddenly an idea dropped in that I could write some other songs, and it's like the tap starts opening and out come all these songs, and I'm writing music for them, and that's a big thing for me because like I said, I've got no musical training, but I've learned to work with the electronic music making tools that have become more and more available over the years. Excuse me. And so I had great delight in writing and singing all these songs that connect this realm to the angel realm. And the one that I asked if we could play today, it tied in with the whole death and dying and celebrancy and transition that is about death being a journey that we take alone, but on the other side we're not alone, but we have to just cross that bridge alone. No one can come with you when you die, but on the other side is love and belonging and family and connection. So it has this very profound meaning for me, but also, like I said, this notion of dying alive in every breath that you take into a meditative state, to die to the person, the personality, the little I, and embrace the unconditional love that's on the other side of the bridge.
Thank you. Lovely intro. Let's listen to the song together.
Nothing more to
So back to just acknowledging the beautiful bridge song written by Carmen and sung by Carmen, and takes us into the very deep experience. It felt to me like it was goodbye, hello, or goodbye, welcome song. Most angelic. Yeah.
Yeah, this notion of gently lifting, like in the Lark Ascending, that beautiful music by Ray Williams with the violin just following the path of the bird as it circles up into the beautiful blue. And that's the feeling that I wanted to capture, and was so lucky to have Sarah Kuro play the violin for us on that piece. Just divinely capturing that transition.
It's such a, it makes it so appealing, you know. If anyone ever fears that transition, it's so soothing, so appealing, and I could feel myself just moving and floating into it. In fact, I almost forgot I was on Youniverse and didn't really want to come back, but here we are back here. But
I have had a few people tell me that they've played that while a loved one was dying, and I find that so moving to hear that story. To think that someone's mind is going to be embracing that concept of love across the bridge, and it's all okay, and you just cross that little bridge and you're going to be okay, and so special.
Yeah, it's very caressing, isn't it? Well, we're moving on to other parts here. I know you do sound baths, and I love that comment you made earlier when you were talking about sound and vibration and healing, and that words are just sounds. I think you're saying, which was a new way of looking at words for me. My life's been pretty much wordy in terms of what I do for a living and so on, but to hear you talk about it as sound and vibration, and you create sound baths, Carmen. Tell us about that. What's the calming effect of sound? I'm experiencing that tonight, and all of the things that you're doing. So what's different about a sound bath?
Well, a sound bath is something that's kind of a newish art form, therapy form that is new yet old, I think. And originally in the West, we associated sound baths with Tibet and the Tibetan singing bowls and gongs, but we've sort of taken it into another realm in the Western tradition by introducing crystal bowls. So they're singing bowls, but made of quartz crystal, and I'm very lucky that I have this beautiful bowls made by Crystal Tones in the US, and they're called alchemy bowls, where they combine largely quartz crystal with other precious gems, minerals, elements, and create these amazing instruments that create an incredibly ethereal sound palette that, when played with intention, are can slip into the listener's bodily or emotional or mental or spiritual layers of being, and create beautiful relaxation, healing, although we don't say that word with the promise to heal an ailment, but when we reflect back on stress being a major cause of most illnesses, then to enter into a realm that is unknotting stresses on all those layers of being, that has a potential to ignite one's own healing process. So a sound bath is using all these beautiful, meditative, peaceful instruments to create a world of vibration, sound, energy, intention that you then take into your being and work with either consciously or unconsciously to release, unlock, calm, recover, repair, journey into the past, reconnect with loved ones. I've had so many anecdotes of people telling me straight after a sound bath what they've experienced, which are things that you would never make up. Wow, you really experienced that. It's incredible. So again, for me, it's about me becoming an instrument and stepping out of the way, just letting this energy come through and go into that energy for you to receive and work with. It all sounds very vague, and I guess it might seem vague, but it is palpable what people experience when they have a sound bath.
And you've especially prepared one for us tonight.
Yeah, a video.
How lovely is that?
Yes.
Do you want to introduce it?
Yes, if you have headphones, put them on now. If you have earbuds, if you have external speakers that you can plug into, because I'm still trying to understand how to capture a recording of an experience that is so present in the space, but is so difficult to compress into a microphone and down a cable into a bunch of ones and zeros on a computer. So it's a process that is a work in process, but you will get the pure tones and vibrations if you listen not on a laptop or not on a phone, because the speakers on those devices do yucky things to sound. They compress it and rattle it, and it just doesn't do it justice. So if you have a chance to put your headphones or earbuds in, do it now.
Let's do that.
Hello, namaste, welcome to this short sound bath. I do hope you've turned off any distracting devices so that you can just relax into this beautiful experience of sound, vibration, and energy. And if you have earbuds or headphones or external speakers, this will be a better experience if you plug into those now. allowing the energy of the sound to carry away any accumulated stress or tension. Let it drift away. And in its place, welcome in that beautiful feeling of calmness, stillness and serenity. As you and the bowls begin to resonate as one.
That was everything they say it is. It was soothing, sublime, and Carmen, you were right in the zone. You were moving around so gracefully. There's so much grace in it, and angelic. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Thank you for doing that. It was lovely. We've been getting so many comments in the chat box. Huge appreciation coming into you, Carmen, for what you've been doing and what you've been sharing this evening. So
Thank you.
no questions, but lots and lots of applause, of appreciation, and all these lovely comments coming in to you. Thank you for that sound bath. Very, very deep thanks. I'm going to be playing that again for myself, probably before I go to bed tonight. It was lovely.
Well, in the topic of appreciation, I'd like to thank you, Gabriel, and all the behind the scenes team who are bringing this together. Really appreciate this opportunity to share and revisit some of these lovely memories.
Thank you. And behind the scenes is Pete and Jan and Debbie Hannon, Jan Wright, and Peter Clark. And so I hope you're feeling those things too. But Carmen, it brings me to a really deep appreciation, just having the opportunity to share Youniverse with you. And I'm really noting what an incredible career you've had. It really is one that, true to what you said at the opening lines, you wanted to uplift, and that's exactly what you've done all the way through. So a deep intuition from, a young age. And it's been a career that's enabled, it's empowered, and it's enriched the lives of people all around the world. I'm mindful that you've made very accessible the experience of inner peace, of creativity, of self-love, of forgiveness, of unconditional love, experiences of natural happiness, and much, much more, by providing almost like a blueprint in your meditation commentaries. And this is echoed in the songs that you've shared with us all, and then, of course, the sound bars. And in doing so, I think you've really helped people to navigate their inner world. So what a fine career that's been. And to have, I guess I'm going to use the word sacrifice, but, to have put on hold other things around that other people would have done in their life, like asset building and so on. And you stayed very authentically your own self and moved down a creative path, and then shared those gifts with so many people around the world. Well, I think that's very heartfelt. Congratulations to you for doing that and doing it so beautifully.
Thank you.
And so truly. And it begs the question, what's your next? Here you are. It's a beautiful place in your life. And what do you see as being your next?
Well, I'm always open to the next creation dropping in, so I'm ready, upstairs team. But my focus for the moment is on sound baths, and because of the endless lockdowns that we're going through, keeping on finding ways to bring them online. As you can see, it does have its challenges with the compression of sound that happens. So I'm still navigating my way through that at the moment, but that's what I would really like to be focusing on next, is being able to engage with people through sound baths, either one-on-one or in small groups, or however that can be born. And yeah, continuing to listen to whatever meditation ideas come in and creating them. And I like this notion of making personalized meditations now. So inserting people's names into a meditation so that it really says, this is talking to me.
Wow.
So that's something that I've just started working on. So that's yet to be developed as a model that can be shared and created. And yeah, so more of that.
More of that. Well, it's been an absolute delight to walk through your story with you. Thank you for sharing it so openly and with so much warmth. And I'm hoping that you can feel the very warm hug that that we're sending you, all those listening and viewing. A very, very lovely, warm hug to you. Thank you so much, Carmen. It's been just a treat to share this moment with you. And I must say, we've gone well over time, and it's just gorgeous that we've done that. There's no way that I do anything but want to be able to celebrate actually the richness that you've contributed to our world. So thank you, Carmen, very, very much.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. It's been so easy working with you, and you've just made this very special event for me. And I am a little bit surprised at all the things I've been involved in creatively. It's like, wow, I haven't sat back and done a review like this for a while. So thank you, but especially thank you to you for the care and love with which you have coaxed me out of my post-cancer world.
Oh, that's gorgeous. Like the bridge that you shared with us earlier this evening. Yeah, indeed. Look, I'd like to let our viewers know that you can access Carmen's website in the chat box. You'll find a link in the chat. Please look at it. And there's also an opportunity for you to connect with Patreon. And that's a special way of supporting Carmen and the unique gifts she brings to our world. And in return, you'll receive occasional posts, videos, or music or meditation from her for free. So please do look in the chat box and check out those links, Patreon and also her website. And as we close out this episode of Open Your Eyes to the Universe, we'll be playing an up-tempo song from a band Carmen had called Shimmer, and the track is Whatever You Do. But in the meantime, before we get to that moment, I want to tell you about the next things coming up. Check out our online bookshop, Eternity Inc. You'll see there Carmen's CDs and books, always at not-for-profit prices, honest prices at Eternity Inc. And don't forget to put in the coupon today, just today, for discounted prices of Carmen's materials there. And if you'd like to subscribe to Open Your Eyes to the Universe to receive monthly updates, please email us at special.events@au.brahmakumaris.org. And now finally, I'd like to tell you about our next episode of Open Your Eyes to the Universe. It's on Saturday, 23rd of October, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. and that'll be AEST, Standard Time. Daylight saving will have commenced. Now, I think you'll be aware of the Convention of Parties 26, sometimes known as COP26, and it's scheduled for Glasgow in early November. So in our next episode of Youniverse, we'll be exploring the relationship between consciousness and climate change. So join us for Cooling Down Climate with some of the Climate Change Brahma Kumaris team, Sonia Olsen from Denmark, Valerian Bernard from Geneva, and Caroline Freud from Germany. So that's on the 23rd of October, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Until then, take care, and may your days and nights be filled with calm and creativity. Om Shanti.
The thoughts that you think become the words